So now we're at chapter 10. A few things have happened so far. I've noticed a little bit of change in Amy Ann, where before she would never say anything. She's starting to say more things. We did find out a little bit. She thinks nobody listens to her, and that's why she doesn't say anything. So we did kind of find that out last chapter. But we also found out that she's planning on reading all the banned books. So that's kind of where we are now. This is chapter 10, our own little book club. Danny Purcell brought Wait Till Helen Comes on Monday, and I read it that night. It was awesome. It was scary, but not scary stories to tell in the dark scary. The little girl in it, the one with the funny haircut on the cover, is so creepy. She hates her new stepbrother and stepsister, go and tells them a ghost she met in the graveyard is going to come after them and punish them for being mean to her. When Rebecca finished from the mixed up files, which she liked, mostly I think because Miss Frankweller is all the time talking to her lawyer, she read Danny's copy of Wait Till Helen Comes while Danny read from the mixed up files. It's like we had our own little book club. Rebecca caught me at my locker at the end of lunch one day. Amy Ann, I looked all over for you in the cafeteria. Where were you? I got a pass to go to the library instead, I told her. Even though my favorite book still wasn't on the shelf, there were lots of other library books I wanted to read. Oh, I see how it is, Rebecca said, pretending to be angry. You love books more than your best friend. Well, I don't need you. I've got Helen. She's my only real friend. And though nobody else can see her, you just wait till Helen comes. Then you'll be sorry. We cracked up laughing together. Danny lopped over to us and brushed his hair out of his eyes. Hey, what's so funny? We could barely answer him. We were laughing so hard. Just wait till Helen comes, I said, trying to sound spooky. Then you'll be sorry. Is that from that book? Danny said. No fair joking about it before I've read it. I've only just finished Basil E. Frankweller, and I want to read that Scary Stories book next. I froze and shook my head, my eyes wide. I hid it, I told him. Why? Danny said. Is it really scary? I let out a little squeak. Danny pulled my locker open wide. Where is it? I want to read it. The book wasn't in my locker. It wasn't under my mattress anymore either. I hadn't been able to sleep knowing it was there. Right at that moment, it was hidden in an old gym bag at the back of my closet, buried under a pile of clothes. I grabbed my locker door and closed it and explained why Scary Stories wasn't there. And that's when I saw it. There was a note in my locker mailbox. A notable note. I didn't notice it right off because I'd gotten used to not getting any notes, but something white and folded was definitely sticking out from my locker mailbox. I must have just stood and stared at it for a long time because Rebecca had to wave her hand in front of my face to get my attention. Hey, Earth to Amy Ann, you look like you just saw Helen's ghost. I pointed to the note. Did you send me a note? Rebecca shook her head. Never leave a paper trail, she reminded me. Then a horrible thought struck her and she turned on Danny. You didn't send her a note, did you? Danny took a step back. Hey, whoa, send a girl a note? No way. Rebecca relaxed. If Danny had written me a note, I don't know which one of us she would have killed first. Who else would send me a note? I asked. Well, I know a good way to find out, Danny said. You could, read it and find out. I pulled out the note and unfolded it. It was a piece of notebook paper torn out of a spiral notebook with pink, loopy handwriting on it. AA. Danny said you have the Egypt game. Can I read it? Jana. It's from Jana Park, I said. She wants to borrow the Egypt game. Oh, yeah, I told her you had a copy, Danny said. My heart skipped a beat. Jana Park had written me a note. Jana Park had written me a note and called me AA. No one ever called me AA before. I liked it. Jana was one of the girls who was always following Danny around like Rebecca. Jana probably liked Danny's hair as much as he did. I was surprised he even mentioned the Egypt game to her since he only heard me talking to Rebecca about it on the bus. But I was excited that someone else wanted to read it. Good books shouldn't be hidden away. They should be read by as many people as many times as possible. I wrote a note back to Jana and stuck it in her locker before going back to class. Jana, sure, I'll bring it tomorrow. AA. Jana came to my locker the next day after lunch, and I passed her the Egypt game in secret, like we were in a spy movie. Thanks, she said. She stood there and didn't leave. You're welcome, I said. She still didn't leave. What is it? I asked her. Jana looked around and said quietly, do you have any of the other books? If I wanted to read any of them. Oh, yeah, I said. I've got From the Mixed Up Files of Miss Basil E. Frankwaller and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but it's really, really scary. And Danny's got Wait Till Helen Comes Home. But he probably already told you that. Oh, Jana said, is that all? She looked at my locker as though the other books might be in there. She was disappointed, I could tell. And suddenly, the only thing I wanted in the world was to please her, because she had written me a note and called me AA. Those are the only ones I have now, I told her. But if there's another one you want to read, I can probably get it. I'm saving up. I ran through the titles in my head. Is it Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. She shook her head and I felt a little relieved. I was still a little afraid of that one. Is it Harriet the Spy? She shook her head. Goosebumps? No. Junie B? No. Matilda? No. What else could it be? It couldn't be Captain Underpants. That only left. Oh, oh. She wanted to read that one. Rebecca popped up beside us, and Jana and I jumped. Kay, thanks, bye, Jana said, and she hurried away. What was that all about? Rebecca asked. Jana borrowed the Egypt game from me, but I think she wants to read a different one of the banned books instead. Which one? I whispered. The sex book. It's perfectly normal. I grabbed a braid and held it close to my mouth, but I can't buy that one. That one is on the list, Rebecca said. You don't have to buy that one. I've got it. My eyes went wide. She had a copy at your house, I asked. Yeah, she said. She acted like it was no big thing. My mom gave it to me. I think that way I couldn't sue her one day for not telling me everything before I needed to know. Have you read it? I whispered. Rebecca leaned in breathlessly. Some parts. I wanted to ask her which parts and what it said, but I was so embarrassed. I jumped as Mr. Vaughn called us into his class down the hall. Will you bring it? I asked her as we ran to class. Rebecca stopped at the door. Okay, she said with a secret smile, and she threw open the door and ran inside. With Rebecca's book and Danny's book and my books, I could have almost half the books Miss Spencer banned from the library sitting in my locker tomorrow, where anybody could read them, not just me, which is when I got an even bigger idea than I had before. So I want you to think about, what do you think the big idea is now? So now she's talking about having those books in her locker and about anybody being able to read them. And then she says she has a bigger idea. So predict what you think is going to happen, but you're going to have to think about why you think that. You're going to have some evidence. Why do you think that? I also want to talk to you about, I don't know if it was from today or tomorrow. Hold on. I think it was from yesterday. So, but I do want to talk to you about something the author did. I think it was when they were talking about Wait Till Helen Comes. Oh my goodness. Okay, I can't find it right now, but there was this part I noticed where the author put a period after every word. And I wanted to show it to you. I'll have to find it. We can talk about it tomorrow. But I want you to think about why the author would do that. Oh, here it is, right here. It was awesome. So it was awesome is a sentence, but the author put a period after every word here. And I want you to think about why they would do that. Why would the author do that? And also know this is grammatically incorrect. However, as an author, you can do things and make choices for a reason. So why would this author do that? So think about that. It was in today's reading. So we will get tomorrow to the next chapter, which is the bigger idea.